Hey everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here at Painted Studio. Welcome back. We are working on a chair today. Just give me a second to load my page up so that I can see questions as they come in. And of course it's going to be a pain in the tuchus, so I can't get anything done. Everything's a little slow today. You might have seen my personal post if you're on my personal page that we lost power earlier. And yeah, that made everything super difficult today. And now I'm just trying to get everything working. And of course now my iPad's not telling me that I'm seeing a video here. So give me please be patient. I appreciate it. Come on, notifications. Okay, so I now know we're live. I can see. I just need to go find why I can't see comments. There we go. All right. Hey, Kathy Brown. Nice to see you here. It's been a little bit. Missed you. All right. So this chair that you see in front of me, I've had it in the back for weeks, getting ready to do it, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but it took me a little while to figure out. So first of all, I had to clean it and prime it and test to see what the surface is. I had a sneaking suspicion that it was either old shellac or old varnish. And actually what I found out is that there was new shellac on it and old varnish, because I flipped it over, I cleaned it up. As I'm cleaning up, there's a lot of dirt coming off of it. But things were not wiping back in every spot. It was kind of weird. So they used a varnish that is denatured alcohol solvent. It was definitely not water-based. So I had to really work to clean it up, and that's basically what the deal is. And then I needed to prime it with a shellac-based primer to seal it up, because I knew the finish was not even everywhere. So as you can see, my primer is gray, and it's not necessarily all the same colors in every spot, and that's because I took some of my bin, which I just get at the hardware store. You can see my Home Depot label on the back, which is the shellac-based bin. There are water-based primers that say they seal and stain. They don't work well. If you've got a chair that's either had a shellac finish on it and you know it might bleed because of tannins and old stains, you want a shellac-based primer. Shellac-based primers are alcohol-based. They're not oil-based, they're not water-based, they're alcohol-based. Literally, the shellac is created by mixing shellac flakes, which are the secretions of the lac beetle, into alcohol. Preferably fine quality denatured, because you get a better product the better the quality of your alcohol is and the better quality of your flakes. When I need a white-based primer, I don't make it myself. I go and buy this. Excuse me. Bin is a good, solid product. It's made by Zinsser. It's been around forever. It works very well. But I don't always need it white, because generally what you're going to find on the market, especially if you're not mixing your own shellac, you're going to find blonde shellac or white shellac or clear shellac, however the company phrases it. Or you're going to find a white pigmented shellac like this, or like Kills shellac based, and that doesn't always work. Usually I can get away with not having to pigment my white shellac, because when I use white shellac, I'm generally going to be using something light over it. However, I want to paint this a very specific color. It needs a good color base on it. The dark was too dark, the white was going to be too white, and it would have shown through. Both the white and the dark affect the way this color reads. So I took my bin, my good old-fashioned bin, and I mixed a little bit of Faux Effects faux color, not faux cream color, faux color black in it. There is a distinction. Faux color does not have any acrylic binders in it, which would have been problematic in my shellac. It is a pigment in a water-based solution. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I've also tinted this with powder pigments and had very successful results. So I tested it, I made a little bit of it, used it on here, and then I needed more so you can see the difference in the two colors, because I knew it wasn't going to matter. Faux colors mix really, really well into this. I would imagine that anybody else's colorant lines are pretty good. Universal colorants or universal tints that you can get at the paint store should work. Again, don't tint a whole can before you've tinted a small bit. That's why I've got the primer all over the side of my can, because I wanted to test a small amount to see how well it would mix. Now, I have dry pigments around here somewhere. I have no idea where they were, so I was hoping that this would work. It really worked nicely. Now, the other thing that I had to do is I had to disassemble this, because there had been a cushion on top. And here is my, sorry, I had the screws on here, my very tired looking cushion. And when I took it apart, I didn't notice at first that there had been metal brackets put in the seat, and I couldn't figure out why. And you can see that there's staples here. They're a little rusty. I was trying to figure out what was going on with this seat, because when I flipped it over like I normally do, and I always turn everything every direction so I get a good idea, normally when I take a seat apart, these big screw holes are where the seat cushion would be anchored. So I didn't really think about it when I first took it apart. I pulled the screws out, and what I realized is I wasn't getting the seat out. The seat was still attached in here, but this whole part here was lifting off. What the heck? That's not right. I don't know what they're doing. Once I got this seat off, they clearly kind of jerry-rigged the brackets on here. They're not well made. They're kind of weirdly bent. They're sort of glued and soldered on. I think there's a tin plate under here. They built a seat, and the more I look at it, it looks like almost like a kitchen seat that was rebuilt, and then they did some crazy stuff to put this together, because this part comes off. What I'm going to show you right now is the reason why. If you look in here, you can see this very coarse area. This seat was originally caned. So this part, this frame part, came off so that you could recane the seat, and then you push all the caning and secure it down in here, and then you put this frame area back on it so that the caning is covered and you have a nice seat to work with. Clearly, the last people who did this did not intend to recane the seat. They kind of built this thing crazy. I will have to redo. I will have to create some better brackets than this, because if these were soldered on, which it sort of looks like, the solder has pulled away, and these are clearly some homemade brackets. They are not stiff brackets. They're not designed for this. They're pulling off in different places. So I'm going to probably have to go to get some brackets and figure out how to secure this much, much better. But until then, until I get to the seat part, everything just stays together and I keep it off to the side. So obviously I didn't pull this apart and prime under here and do all of that. I am treating this as a solid seat, and then we're going to move on to the color. And let me show you why I needed this. Where did I put it? I know I had the opener here, and I probably buried it under the seat, but fortunately I have a screwdriver. This is one of the times you're seeing me not work with Faux Effects products. I'm using Aura today because I wanted a really, really specific color, and I wanted it to be consistently mixed through a whole quart. Some of you may remember the bathroom that I did in my own house that had all the gold stencils and stuff all over it. So that's inspiring this chair. That was the color of my bathroom. This is called Berry Crush. This is the most gorgeous color, and when it dries, it's just stunning. So I wanted to make this chair the Berry Crush color, and then what we're going to do is actually apply gold leaf over it imperfectly so that you can see the pink coming through. And then hopefully I will find a sort of pinky gold iridescent silk fabric. I know what I want, I just don't know where to find it yet. I haven't discovered it, but I've seen it in the past. I actually own something with it on it, so now I just have to go find it. All right, so we're going to make sure nobody's got any questions. Hey, Cindy and Kim and Kay, thanks for popping in. All right, I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit on what we're doing. Let me get my crop and zoom thing going here, and let's hope I don't end up sending it off into the corner of nowhere. So we're going to zoom on my chair a little bit, and we're going to do this. Now, Aura is one of the only paints that I like to use other than set coat. You know I'm a set coat person. It's one of the reasons I became both a teacher and a retailer for set coat. But Aura is the paint I use when I can't get what I want from Vofex. They just don't make this kind of a color, and I don't feel like going out and trying to do it myself when I know I can get Aura in exactly the color I want, because the first time I used this, it was an Aura paint. Aura brushes on beautifully. Now, when you roll this on the wall, the coverage is even better. But brushing this on, I can't complain. If you're looking at this, this coverage is pretty darn good. Let me zoom in a little more so you can see that crossbar. The coverage on this is really nice. And Aura has another one of those wonderful leveling properties that allow you to walk away from it even when it's wet. And if you come back and brush over it, you won't see a seam. Now, they do have ways that they recommend you apply it with a special roller and stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, normally when I do this, I'm just using a damp whiz roller. Can't use a whiz roller on something like this with all these details. I won't get a good result. But 2 coats of this, and I'm going to have a gorgeous, gorgeous fuchsia chair. I know this product. I'm very pleased with it. It's one of my go-tos. And until I find something better, because I'm always looking, Benjamin Moore Aura will be my second choice, only slightly after set coat. So I'm loving this. Look how gorgeous this chair is. Oh my God. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out so you can see me working. Now I'm not going to turn this upright. You're going to watch me paint some of this upside down because I like to get the bottom first. Simply, there's a reason I do bottom first. It's because I will work harder to get a nice smoother finish on the upper areas, and then you flip it over and something's got some grit on it and you've scratched your paint, and then you have something on there that you have to fix. So and then if there's drips and dribbles, this way they don't get seen. This has always been my way to do this, because if I paint like these cross sections like I'm doing right now, and I get a little dribble down here, I will be able to come back and clean it up. If I do it over fresh paint, I might pull the paint back. I might get an uneven application. It might damage the other drying paint. This always has worked the best for me, and this is always how I've gotten the best results. I love this color so much. Oh. I do keep touching the screen over here just to make sure I'm not missing anything. We had a huge power outage this morning, so one of the things I'm a little paranoid on is that we might lose internet again. So I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen. If it does happen, just fair warning, we've had it, go in and out a couple times today. We don't know what happened. We thought it was a transformer blew this morning. I was sitting here doing paperwork, getting ready for the day as always, and all of a sudden I heard a giant whoomp behind the building, and power went out. Now, of course, my first thought was, oh God, did somebody do it just in our building? Did I blow breakers? What happened? And then I start walking around, and Early in the morning, I'm one of the earlier businesses open, other than the daycare way down the street, and nobody on my side of the street had power. Nobody. And I was feeling very bad for the restaurants as they were starting their day prep, because even though they weren't open, they're in there doing their prep. And all I could think of is, it's July. There's no power. And they have freezers and refrigerators full of food. Oh my gosh, I felt so bad for them. But fortunately, even after we reported the outages and after they gave us an ETA on the repair time, it went on, like the power went on just actually as I was about to leave for the day, because we were told it wasn't going to go back on until like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And by then I would have been wasting my day sitting here in a hot studio. I was going to go home and do paperwork. So just as I was getting ready to go out, power came back on. And about 10 minutes later, the internet came back. So I'm like, oh God, this is awesome. I can work. I can do my live. I can paint this chair this crazy gorgeous pink. I'm so excited. So I just keep touching the screen because I want to make sure we haven't lost internet connection. And sometimes it looks like we lose internet connection, and the only way for me to check is by touching the screen of my iPad. I am so in love with this color. Well, of course I am. I did a whole bathroom in it at my other house, and I've posted the pictures of it many times, and I will post the pictures of it many times again. So I know some people question whether you paint the underside of the furniture. Quite frankly, I always do. I like the way it looks. I like that if you knock the furniture over, at least you get a solid paint color that is the same as what we were using up on top under there. I don't like to see drippy, runny, messy edges on stuff. And I know I keep whacking things with my brush handle. That's nothing new either. I can take these brushes, and somewhere in here I have a couple of them that I've cut off short like this, so I can work them in some of these weird smaller spaces. But of course, I don't know where they are today. I'm lucky I know where I am. So we're just going to live with me banging on this a little bit. So here's another thing with priming with shellac. Not all paints love shellac, especially clear. For some reason, putting pigment in it makes it easier for the paints to grab to it. We probably have to alter the shellac a little bit just to manage with the pigments. But clear shellac especially, a lot of people have things that happen like the paint sisses, it crackles, or it does not bond well. There's two ways to handle that. Once your shellac has cured for at least 45 minutes, because being alcohol based, it really dries up very quickly for the next layer. Alcohol evaporates. Sorry folks, I'm struggling with my words today. It's been a day. Alcohol evaporates, denatured alcohol especially, which is when you buy it, if you're in a state where you can buy it. I know you can't buy it in California anymore, or you may not be able to buy it in some counties because it's highly flammable. Some places call it campfire fuel. It's the stuff we used to put in Bunsen burners in science class, that clean burning alcohol. It's also a solvent. So if you're having problems with your paint not liking shellac, there's two ways of going at it. First, you can let it set up and then give it a light sand, and the tooth helps a lot because shellac tends to dry kind of shiny. That's the nature of the resin in there. The other thing is to thin it with denatured alcohol, which means it'll go onto your surface more thinned. I'm sure you understand the concept of thinning. You're making it a thinner product. But there's less of it on the surface and sometimes less is a little less aggressive to paint. It's a trick I learned from gilders, because when we gild, we use shellac for any number of reasons, and the standard for shellac when you're buying it in the store, and this is probably going to be more information than you wanted to know, standard shellac is a 3-pound cut of shellac. What is a 3-pound cut? A 3-pound cut means that they use 3 pounds of shellac flakes per gallon of denatured alcohol. What I find works better is a 2-pound cut, which means it's 2 pounds of shellac to a gallon of denatured alcohol. Now, to convert that, it's approximately adding a third more shellac. That's actually, the math is wrong, but it's actually about adding about a sixth more shellac, or sorry, 6 more alcohol into your shellac mixture. So, you know, if you've got a couple of ounces of shellac poured in, put a little bit more in and just thin it down till it's a little more watery. Just don't pour equal amounts. You're going to make a mess of it. You're not going to have shellac that wants to do you any good. But put, you know, increase your volume by about, I don't know, 10-15%, and you'll have really nice shellac that does not fight most acrylic paints. And set coat is one of them that can fight it. That's part of the reason I always thin down my shellac when I work with set coat. I never have a problem when I do it that way. Okay, this is going to be a little challenge because I'm in my chair and I'm trying to push it behind so that you can see me while I'm painting. And I got to negotiate around other pieces of furniture. So I'm going to do this. Oh, look, it looks like I'm in jail. I'm in chair jail. Also, when I like to work low with the chair up high when I'm doing stuff like this, because I can see better what I might miss. If I stand over it, I don't see everything. And I will get up and stand over it eventually, but being down here means I get a better view of all the support structures in here and all the other little stuff, and I get a better result. Okay, let's get in here. All the stuff that I missed that I can't see if I'm standing up straight. And I do miss a lot. All right. Out. And I will put 2 coats on this, although one, if I was using a roller, one would probably only, it would give me really good coverage. When I did my bathroom, I had neutral white walls, and I just rolled on. I almost went with 1 coat, but I knew that it would not be a good idea, but it covers, you know, this covers really, really well. But now you can also see a little bit why I'm going with the gray. I don't know if it's showing in the camera, but there are spots that are a little thinner than others, so the gray peeks through. And when you do something like a red color with white under it, any color with red under it with white, it's just a pain in the neck to get the good coverage. So I make my own life easier by putting a gray primer under here, and this is going on beautifully. I'm not having any problems with the shellac affecting the acrylic. And somebody asked me the other day, they almost never see me using chalk paints. And that's true, because usually the stuff I'm creating, I'm doing differently than chalk paint. I don't often create something distressed. You saw that beautiful sink base that I did for my customer. That's going to have to be cleaned off of there a different way. I should have taken those off, before we started, but it doesn't matter since I need a second coat. I'll clean them off and sand down. These are all gummed on here. Ugh. And I meant to do it yesterday after I started shellacking on it. I forgot. This happens. But yeah, these, I wasn't sure if they were tacked on or they were glued on, but they were glued on and they're in pretty rough shape. These are little slider pads so your chairs don't scuff your floors. I'm sure you all have seen those before. I love this color so much. I can do the bathroom in my new house, except the one that I did it in my other house was a powder room. We had a little tiny half bath, barely half bath downstairs. So it's about 3 feet by 3 feet, but it made all the difference in a house with a couple people living in it. Now we only have one bathroom, and I'm thinking not everybody would love to wake up first thing in the morning to a fuchsia bathroom. Husband, son, they wouldn't complain, but it might be a little harder to get them to, you know, shave in the mirrors and stuff. And also they did a overset of the bathtub that's beige, and I just don't think this would be the best color combination with that beige. Had it been white, like the ceramics were in the other house, I would have maybe considered it, but not in this bathroom. All right, so I'm going to flip this over in just a second. I really love this color. I just want to take a little walk around, look for any dribbles, look for any little mist spots, because there always are mist spots. All right. And I forgot this whole side, so that's a good thing. I knew I wasn't going to have gotten the whole front of this leg. And then after I get 2 coats on here, we're going to apply a coat of Roberson's, our acrylic gold leaf adhesive, otherwise known as gold leaf size. And put gold leaf on here. I'm going to use composition gold. I'm not going to use real gold. I'm trying composition gold from a new source, so I want to see how it works. And doing a chair like this is a perfect chance for me to test it out. This whole back side of this things that I haven't seen. All right, let's turn this over, see if I can see. If I leave little dribbles, come and check the front, make sure there's nothing dribbly here. When you have turned legs like this, expect dribbles. So expect to come back around and look at things to see if you have to, yeah, see there's that. I missed the crossbar here. It looked like I knew it was there. I didn't remember if I had done this side of it or not. And there. Furniture takes a little patience. You know, it's not, I used to do walls and floors and ceilings and building exteriors, which in many ways were easier than furniture because they were mostly flat. All right, let me back the camera up a little bit. Actually, I'm just gonna scroll it up a little bit. Yeah. My camera wants to sync a little. There we go. So we're going to get the rest of the back here, and then I'll come around and do the front. This color is just so beautiful. Now, everybody has their way of doing things. I've explained why I do the bottom first. It's just, I tend to get a cleaner finish if I do the bottom underside and the legs and everything before I do the top. It helps me not fight gravity. Turn it upside down, I'm able to catch dribbles. Turn it upside down, I get everything done. Sometimes I don't need to paint the bottom of this twice, but I need to paint it at least one time. And I don't have any messy cross painting to clean up if I do it the right way. I mean, I've done, when I was first doing this, I'd paint the whole chair, it'd be gorgeous, then I'm like, oh, I should put some color on the underside. I'd flip it over, I'd put the color on and turn it right side up and realize that I'd made dribbles all along the sides. I'd already ruined a finish that I'd already completed. Just makes more sense to me. It's my more successful way of doing things if I do the underside first. Okay, let's come over back here. Get the harp part. This is called a harp or a lyre back. Sometimes they're more elaborate, sometimes they're less. This is actually, quite frankly, very plain. For most of them, there's usually some scroll work or carving in here. And then I want to get the inside here because I can see there's a little dribble happening right there that I want to clean up. Now these top turns can be easy to miss spots under here, so make sure you're checking when you go to the front that your turned area is painted all the way around, just like you need to make sure you check the sides of the lyre shape. Here, let's get that cleaned up there. Gravity can be the bane of your life when painting furniture. All right, let me check and see if I missed any questions. Hi, Donna and Beverly and Rebecca and Florence. Thank you for coming in. All right, so let's get the front here done. Now if you notice, when I paint this lyre shape, the harp shape, I always make sure to run my bristles along the edge because it's an edge. I can accidentally scrape paint off my brush and create a buildup right along these edges that will then dribble. I really hate sanding off dribbly spots, so I work really hard not to have them show up. Okay. Let's get the front. And again, there will be a second coat, so any parts that look too thin right now will be even tomorrow. And don't overload your brush. Another standard thing that happens, especially when you're in a hurry to paint a piece of furniture, is that you put so much paint on your brush to get the whole thing covered really fast, and then it sags, it dribbles, it looks great when you walk away and you come back an hour later and there's just ripples in your finish. One of those ask me how I know questions or comments. All right. Now I saw some neat tricks to, some things that have screw holes, you don't necessarily want to fill the screw holes because you need to place screws back in that area. And that's the case with this chair because of the bracketing that I'm going to have to work with. So I saw something, I was watching it, and it's something I'm going to try. Because screw holes do get loose if you go in and out of them and constantly move the screws in and out of holes, you can actually strip the holes of the ability to hold on to the wood, which is not what you want to do. And I saw some very cute, very innovative ways of getting the screw to catch besides using things like wood putty, which can sometimes make it hard to find the screw hole. Pieces of copper wire, pieces of wood, sticking a toothpick in there, just because then it creates tension and your screws rebite the surface. What was the other one? This is not one I'd use on a piece of furniture, but I might use it on like a light switch plate, or a light switch. Would be using a little tiny piece of zip tie. They did a whole bunch of tests on stuff that worked really well and didn't. Somebody used a little piece of metal. Bad idea. It can split the wood and end up not helping anything hold on to anything because you cracked the wood. Okay, so now we are well and truly covered here. This is going to dry for a little while. Let me pull my chair back over. And I'll bring the camera down so that we're talking face to face. I hope. Aim it a little more towards me. Okay, so we have this wonderful fuchsia color. It is drying really nicely. Again, come back down here. I can check and see if there's any drippies happening around any of the spindles and stuff like that. Gives me a chance to look up under stuff. See right there, I missed a spot. There's a drip. Again, the ability to go up under things is very important. So then we're going to let this dry, and in a little while I'll put on a second coat. Tomorrow we'll do the live where I put on the gold leaf size and we gild this. This is surprisingly fast. Now I've taken 3 days to do this. Normally I could do the shellac in the morning and put 2 coats of paint on in the afternoon. But if you saw my post yesterday, it was so hot and so humid that I wasn't going to try to force the shellac dry to take any paint over it, because that's how you get things failing. I wanted to give a good dry time. So today we're going to, after I finish up here, we're going to let this dry. I'll go do a little paperwork. I'll do a little posting, come back, put a second coat on it, and we'll be ready to gild tomorrow. And yes, I am constantly looking in here to see if there's any either spots that I missed or something's dripping. This is part of how I do furniture. I want to check regularly to see if I've missed something. And this is a killer color. It actually looks brighter when I'm looking at my iPad screen. It looks way brighter than it is in person. It's a little deeper here. But the second coat on this is really going to bring the color out and make it rich, and we're going to be ready to gild it tomorrow. All right, everyone. I appreciate you popping in. Hey, Kay, thank you. Yes, this chair is going to be really sexy. I love taking old stuff and doing something kind of unexpected with it. I'm sure you guys have figured that out now, between the foiling on the tin table that you saw me do, that little Martha Washington sewing table I did for the client. Rarely do I do anything typical, just because that's me. But to do even atypical well, you have to know your products, which is why I share so much detail about shellac and all of that stuff, which sounds like a science class lecture. It's stuff I've learned over the years that really has made my work better because it's made it stable. The coolest piece of furniture in the world is useless if when you touch it, the paint wants to come off, or if you move it and it chips up. So behind the art of it, there is a science that is a good thing to know, and I appreciate you listening to me and letting me kind of babble on about my stuff. All right, everyone, we're gonna let this dry. I'm so in love with this color. And I did it, forgot a spot, hang on. I don't know how I got that up. This is why, again, you go under stuff upside down. I am a genius. I missed the whole underside of this crossbar. One little spot there. That was a little tiny divot. Now I gotta fix there because I can't have that ridge of stuff. You don't want that creating that buildup line. I'm so smart. I should never be loud out in public. All right, I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to let this dry. While I'm not on camera, we will put the second layer on here, and I will see you all tomorrow. We're going to do some gorgeous gilding, and maybe what I'll do is online search for the fabric that I want for the seat for this. I probably won't buy anything online because I actually want to take, I'm going to brush this on a little piece of paper so I can take it to assorted fabric stores until I find what I want. I usually start out at the easy ones like Joann, and then if I don't find what I want there's several furniture upholstery places here in this and in the city that I'll go and look for what I want. I might even go down to my local upholstery guy and say, hey, you got something that works with this? I know the color scheme, what do you got? So they're really awesome with that. If you have a good relationship with an upholstery person, they might be able to pull in a little odd bit of fabric for you, or they might have it lying around in the back. All right, everybody, I think we are done. I think I'm going to say goodbye to you for the day. I'm going to put my camera on the charger so that we can have a good video tomorrow, because I think I'm on the last legs of the battery right now. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.